Is Baldur's Gate 3 somehow actually just getting better with age? What will the combat look like in Fable, the upcoming game hopefully coming in 2025? And really, is Avowed starting to look kind of good? Or even better than it has before? Let's get right into all that because I don't want to waste your time and there's actually a lot of details to talk about here. Michael Dowse, Larian's publishing director and perhaps the only reason to still be on Twitter because of his insightful tweets, talked about some player numbers from Baldur's Gate 3's launch last year in 2023 and the numbers they're having this year in 2024. And they're actually up in a sense. I don't need to stress just how remarkable that is for a single player game, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because it's remarkable for a single player game. Games that are single player, especially those with a finite story, just tend to drop. They tend to drop off. That's kind of what happens, because it's not like saying it's a bad thing for the game, it's just you finish the game, you had a great experience with it, and there's not usually a whole lot of replayability with games like that. That is not the case with Baldur's Gate 3. The tweet specifically was talking about average daily peak concurrents, which are up 3% year over year. Now, of course, that doesn't mean Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be hitting a new all-time high in players anytime soon. After all, it's kind of hard to top 875,000 players. But their average daily active users was also up 20% over last year, and their average daily Steam Deck users are up 61% over last year. Michael Dowse seems to put a lot of this on mods, which tracks. Mods were released with patch 7 with official support from Larian, making it incredibly easy as a player to add mods like the No Party Limit mod, hair extension mods, and even this mod, the Shortian mod, which... and the Giant Bunny mod, of course. Mods aren't limited to PC with BG3 either, as you can actually use them on consoles, where I'm sure Larian has seen a lot of that user growth since consoles were a bit more sluggish to get out of the gate last year, especially Xbox, not releasing until December of 2023, while PC launched back in August of 2023. But in my opinion, it goes well beyond that. Baldur's Gate 3 is actually a genius game in several ways when it comes to replayability, just from its base functions. Its sheer number of paths you can take, the addition of new evil endings, which also came with patch 7, which I will never do because I'm a weenie and I don't want to be mean even to NPC characters. I can't do it, but you can, so awesome for you. As well as, of course, the different origin paths to get better ideas of the main cast of characters and how they interact in the world by actually, well, playing as them. Not to mention, of course, the Dark Urge origin path. And then once you've spent hundreds or even thousands of hours doing all of that, you get multiplayer, and multiplayer itself is its own unique experience, like a D&D campaign with your friends with an incredible DM.
It's in uneasy silence.
You're so purple.
Wow.
You look like a fucking grape.
I honestly didn't think we were gonna make it this far. Oh my god.
Why are you naked?
It's custom, bro. It's Drow custom. Alright. Don't respect my culture, bro.
No, I refuse.
Alright. Drows, Drows like to get in the sauce.
And if you're really feeling bold, you can even do it on honor mode to add a sense of dire risk.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god, Red.
What did you? Oh my god.
Who's the enemy? Is it the owlbear? No. It's everyone, I think.
Can we just quit?
Oh my god.
I can just quit
Red.
out. I can just exit the game. I don't have to save. I'll just exit the game.
I'll
just exit the game. I don't want to kill. I don't want to. Like,
oh my god.
I don't mind. I don't care about all the companions as much.
Why would you? Oh my god, Red.
I didn't know what it would do.
Can I to be honest though? They're all like level 1.
No, it's not that we're gonna die. It's more of a moral thing.
It does feel great when you do succeed, though. Like this.
4, and then she just on her own +1 health.
Okay. Here's I'm doing a
Okay,
level 5.
100% fire damage.
Do it.
We're down to 7 health. You got
Oh.
this. You can do this. Yeah!
Oh my
Fuck
God,
yes.
Yo, fucking
my
sick,
God.
dude.
Baldur's Gate 3 is perhaps the most replayable RPG I've personally ever played, just because of the avenues you can go down before mods even come into it. Who knows where the game will go over the next few years, and mods continue to get better and better. And yes, I am saying this in part as someone who really enjoyed before Baldur's Gate 3 the replayability of Skyrim. I kind of feel, and this, I don't know, this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I kind of feel like Baldur's Gate 3 has more replayability than Skyrim without mods. I gotta clarify that, without mods, because mods in Skyrim are its own thing. And yes, I did want to cover this story just in part to give credit to Eurogamer for their subtitle on their article for it. It gets me. But now let's move to a game that hasn't released yet, but we might be getting pretty soon, or at least in 2025. Fable is my most anticipated RPG of 2025, even among titles that are pushing hard for that honor, like Expedition 33 and Avowed, and it generally comes down to one big reason: the dark British humor. I'm just a sucker for it, in all honesty.
Where nature and magic live in perfect harmony. Not all stories have happy endings. But yours has yet to be written.
But there's also a shit ton of unknown about this game. It's not being made by the studio that made prior Fable titles. It's basically a complete restart in some ways, but we do have an idea as the rumor mill kicked up that the combat has been heavily influenced by The Witcher 3. Jez Corden on Windows Central has apparently seen some alpha footage of Fable and came away with pretty glowing praise for the game. The idea that the combat would be reminiscent of Witcher 3 shouldn't be all that surprising, as Playground, the dev making the game, has apparently hired some CD Projekt Red devs, and it seems to have a lot of that DNA of one of those games. Now, Corden goes on to explain it's not directly one-to-one Witcher 3 combat, and one key part here is he didn't actually play it, but rather just saw it. So take that combat part, that it's Witcher 3 combat, with a grain of salt. But essentially there was a lot of fluid melee combat with pirouettes and dodging and seamless hack and slash into executions. But it wasn't just melee either. There were ranged weapons and spells to throw about against giant chickens. Yes, giant chickens. Depending on how much you liked or didn't like Witcher 3 combat, the silver lining is, of course, that it's just watching the gameplay, not playing. So if you don't like the combat, that leaves hope that it might not feel like Witcher 3 combat. But if you do like the combat, it leaves hope that it might feel like it, or it will at least be visually inspired by it. Corden has also previously reported that there at least seems to be some kind of character creator between male and female characters, but here's hoping we see a trailer for Fable at the Game Awards, or dare I hope for more gameplay footage. We've seen some gameplay, but I would love to see a lot more. We already know, after all, that one of the games that might even be competing for RPG of the Year in 2025, well, it'll be releasing on February 18th of 2025. And apparently, it's looking pretty damn decent. Several outlets got hands-on previews of Avowed, and the embargo has apparently dropped because we got a flood of information. You'll be playing as the Envoy, a fully customizable character, and you'll be traveling through the Living Lands. As we previously heard, we aren't exactly going to be welcome here as a sort of imperial presence, but we've been sent to investigate the Dream Scourge, a plague that is infecting everything, and it's up to us to figure out how to stop it. And that makes me so happy that this game is releasing in 2024 and not 2020, because fuck. This game will feature an open class approach to combat, allowing you to find and swap out different types of weapon sets, from spears and swords to pistols to spell slinging grimoires. Combat seems to have found its groove after a rough early showing in trailers, as it's been described as fast and fluid, with plenty of dodging, though reviewers found the combat to be on the easy side, at least in the hands-on preview. So here's hoping there's significant numbers of options for how we can fine-tune the difficulty to what we want it to be, if we want it to be a difficult game or an easy game, either way. It'll have a structured leveling system and one you can mix and match, which actually makes me think a bit of Veilguard's skill web, but it looks like it'll be a bit more structured than that and a bit more direct. Eurogamer called the game a clear step up from the Outer Worlds, but also noted that the game is still lacking a killer hook, going on to say that there's nothing that really stood out as original. Though of course it should be noted that this is only 3 hours into the game, so take that all with a grain of salt, because that's like the very first 0.1% in many RPGs. But I should also note, for the storytellers and immersive readers among us who want to get into a world, Eurogamer also said that Avowed's writing still has Obsidian's trademark humor, though it's far more grounded than Outer Worlds and has a more natural feel to it with less pressure to be quippy or quirky. Maybe I should be less quippy and quirky. If there's anything to be said about Avowed that's been routinely positive, it's that each reveal has continued to show the game in a better light. While it may not set the world on fire, it looks like a very solid RPG with a lot of potential. This game will be a day one purchase for me for sure, and if you happen to have Game Pass, Xbox's Game Pass, you'll be able to play it on day one over there on Game Pass. And yes, it has a 5-day head start, because why the hell not at this point? That's frustrating. I'm not gonna lie, that shit's annoying. But you don't have to. You don't have to get the pre-order. You don't have to get the head start. You can just play it on Game Pass on day one, and you can actually just not do that thing, that monetization FOMO crap. Anyway. But the game that I want to hear more about, the game that I'm just desperately wanting to hear more information, see more gameplay, is actually, it has to do with these little guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Hi.
Yeah, so if you want to find out more about whatever the hell that is, you can see that in this video here on Exodus, the upcoming sci-fi RPG from Mass Effect devs. I am so ready for this game, this sci-fi RPG, that I'm hanging on to every update we get.